So I had an idea to allow my friends to give me some descriptions to help me create a villain. And what resulted was something pretty interesting, if I'd say so myself. I personally think it turned out pretty well. So without further ado, let us get started. Hey everybody, it's Geo Phoenix, and today I am drawing the villain that was described by my friends. So, first things first, description. The description for this character was provided by my friend Minus. The gender will be male, the age will be in the mid-40s, giving me a challenge here, Minus. For his height, he will be Vegeta size, so that's like 5'4", which, by the way, I was kind of shocked by that revelation. I didn't realize he was like 5'4". Huh, the more you know. And for his physical description, and I'm quoting this from my friend Minus, because I like how he said this. He said, "Not handsome, but maybe fancy. Someone who dresses nice, but in a menacing way. Dracula is my best reference." Now, after he told me that, I was like, bet. I was like, oh man, this gives me a perfectly good vision of how I can draw this dude, I was like, I got it. However, the funny thing about it is that neither him nor I had clarified which Dracula we were talking about, so I just assumed we were talking about Castlevania Dracula. Now on to colors, which was provided by my friend Elizabeth, or who we like to call Magic Lady, and Minus, again! Yay! So Lizzie said reds and blacks. My god, he really is Dracula. And Minus said purple and black. I decided to just combine the two together, because why not? This is colors I don't often use together anyway. For his skin tone, he'll be pale white. His hair will be black and gray, short, kind of messy, despite being dressed fancy. A very interesting contrast, Minus. Thanks. And his eyes will be blue. As for accessories, Minus said chain pocket watch, and Zeta said a cane. And of course, I added both. And as for his personality, which, thinking about it now, I think I might have to readjust his story in order to fit this. Anyway, this was also provided by Minus. Again, what a trooper. Thanks, Minus. A leader that only cares about his own ambitions, has little value for others, and willing to sacrifice his own servants as stepping stones. And now that I think about it, I actually can add this to the current story that we have. Go figure. So then, with all these descriptions, drawing him should be a piece of cake. Right? Well, let's just say I had the hardest time really trying to figure out exactly how I was going to make this dude look and how I was going to pose him. I went through sketch after sketch after sketch after sketch after sketch after sketch after sketch, only for me to eventually settle down on one sketch. And it was still rough even afterwards. I had to eventually go back over it, resketch it again, over and over and over again, because you ever draw something, like you do like a quick little sketch, and like at first you're thinking to yourself, oh yeah, I should be able to read that like any time when I actually decide to go through and, put the line art or clean up the sketch. And then you look back at it and it looks like scribbles of a madman. Wow. I guess that's why they call it a rough sketch. So anyway, after cleaning it up and making sense of the scribbles I've created, I eventually moved on to the line art process, which was probably the easiest part of this whole entire drawing, because it makes sense now. Now the funny thing about it is that while drawing this, I also realized that I didn't pay that much attention to the shoes. Like, literally, when I sketched the shoes out, I really did not put that much effort into the shoes. So when I went to outline the shoes, I was sitting there going like, Really past me? Really past me of a few hours ago and a couple days ago? You didn't think twice about actually drawing the shoes? So, I had to guesstimate. I tried my best, honestly. Could have looked up, I had a reference. I was staring on a reference for shoes, but I tried my best. But for the most part, like I said, the line art process went along pretty smoothly. Didn't really have any, it didn't have much hurdles with that, because most of my hurdles was within the sketch. And eventually, kind of the coloring. Which, speaking of which, I don't know if by the time I'm speaking up to this point in the recording, I will be at this point of the recording with the coloring, but we're gonna act like we're already there anyway. So with the coloring process, of course, I put into play everything everybody had stated, and made sure to keep in mind his hair color, skin color, eye color, clothing color, which, again, was the main color palettes that was listed between Magic Lady and Minus, which was red, black, and purple. Which I wasn't sure how to implement those colors, but I was thinking about it while I was coloring his skin and hair. Speaking of skin and hair, like, for a skin tone, I was kind of struggling with, getting the shadows of it down, because, I still had to keep in mind that, oh yeah, he's supposed to be pale looking, but, we need to get the shadows going, so I just grabbed as many pale grays and tans and stuff that I could. For his hair, on the other hand, that one, because at first I kind of wanted to do gray streaks, but then I realized it wasn't going to look right with the kind of hair that I gave him, because his hair is supposed to be kind of, wild, all messy, like what Minus describes it, and I was trying to keep that going. So I was just like, okay, let me come back with this, and let me actually let me actually do a gray hue on it to give it the illusion that it's turning gray, instead of just grabbing individual parts and coloring it gray. I was like, nah, just put a gray hue towards the bottom, have it where it's black and then turning gray, and it looked really nice. It worked out pretty well, so it's a good idea. I went with that. And now moving on to the suit color, or the outfit color in general, right? So for the cape, the little fur part of the cape, I made sure to color that one black, and do some nice little shading and stuff to make it look like it's popping out, right? And then for the cape itself, I decided to color that red. I was thinking about putting a pattern on the cape, but I decided not to. So maybe later on I'll probably make a pattern and put it on there. For the suit, I did want to make that one purple, but the original color purple that I chose, it was way too bright, so I decided to grab a more grayish looking purple than grab something that's really bright and punch you in the face, because I didn't want it to clash with the red. So I grabbed that, I colored with that, and I was like, okay, yeah, that looks 10 times better. And instead of separating the jacket and the pants, I just colored them all in the same layer. I tend to not do that, but I did this time. And then of course I added a little line pattern on it, like I planned out in the sketch, and did that. Though granted, I was trying to do it with a brush, but it didn't exactly work well. Make a brush into doing a line pattern and work the way I want it to, which is fine. Here's the final result. Once I finished drawing him, we all came up with a story for him, and here's what we came up with. Fernando, the fox, Collingwood, is a mobster who ended up becoming one after years of working under another mobster for a good bit of his life, until he was chosen to succeed the previous, who was like a father to him. Collingwood is known to be a family man and is willing to do anything for them. He is a father of 3 sons and 1 daughter who he spoils. However, due to complications with him and his wife, they decided to divorce. But on that day, when he came by her house to give her the papers, he found her dead. Collingwood wasn't ever known to be the kind of man to be so forgiving. In fact, his kindness was only seen by his family, and he doesn't take kindly to those who harm them. Now heartbroken and furious, Collingwood now seeks revenge for the one who killed his wife. I like to give a special thanks to Elizabeth for coming up with his name and for the bulk of his story. So she's the one that came up with the whole him being a mobster and everything and succeeding after the original, who was like his father. I also like to give a special thanks to Andy, Asuna, and Minus for coming up with his marital and family status. I also added some details in between there too to help kind of flesh out a little more for that. And of course, I would like to thank Renee for giving a suggestion on trauma. Bless your heart. Oh god. This was a really nice challenge, and I actually enjoyed it every step of the way and every second of it. I would like to do it again. I don't know when, but I will do it again. One other thing, I also will make sure to link down the socials so that way you can follow everyone or at least take a look at some of their works for everybody who joined in on helping me create this character. So once again, thank you guys for helping me, even if it was something as simple as just one suggestion. It means a lot. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Make sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the way out. Have an amazing day, guys. Bye!